Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Keith from Black Quarterback Series, and today, uh, this was supposed to be the draft video. I'll get more into why we're canceling that series, but let's get into it. So, if you haven't been looking in the media, it's been a concerted effort to make Lamar Jackson and I got Jalen Hurts to look like absolute buffoons, right? Anonymous reports, moving the goalposts. I was gonna make this video more like um tightened up, but I'm just gonna rant. That's why I think I'm gonna call it media versus black quarterbacks rant or something along those lines. But y'all see this thumbnail. Y'all know how we rocking. We these quarterbacks are the most sought after, team first, upstanding human beings that you could meet. But for whatever reason, the media wants to talk about them like they're Ray Rice or that other dude who's beating people. He played for Carolina. Like they want to talk about them like they're doing that. And the spearhead of this was Jalen Hurts, and Jalen will be the main event of this. So let's start off with some guys that they thought was going to be good, right? So y'all remember what was going on with Justin Herbert, right? Justin Herbert, oh my God, he's so good, and this, and the third. And it's like Justin Herbert got it all together, right? 0 2, 0 2 in the playoffs. Justin Herbert been in the league about 7, 8 years. I'll put it on the screen. He's been in the league for about 7, 8 years. And every year it's like, oh God, Justin Herbert, this, blah, blah, blah. Guy had a 27-point lead, ended up losing it 31-30. I watched that game. I did a video on that game. Now, last season, Justin Herbert was hurt, but we're not giving excuses because when Lamar Jackson was hurt, he didn't get that excuse. Get it done, Justin. Get it done. That's why Nick Wright did it. I'm not a huge fan of Nick Wright, but when he compared Justin Herbert to Karl Anthony Towns, it was like, that's a really good analysis. Started off hot and then just kind of regressed to the memes. They've been trying to put Justin Herbert in this category for years. He's not a top 5 guy. He's probably a top 12 guy, top 15 guy. Still great talent. But let's get over ourselves, right? Trevor Lawrence, the other guy. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the next guy. Flowing hair and just all around great looking guy. He's a surfer dude. All of that, right? He's 1-1 in the playoffs. Now, granted, he's had some organizational dysfunction. But so what? Get it done. Get it done. You've been in the league a long time as well. I think we're knocking on 10, almost 10. Wow, we're knocking on almost 10 years for you. I could be wrong. Now, mind you, this is a rant, so anything I'm saying, and if I'm wrong, that's going to be on the screen. Future Keith is going to help me out with it, right? You have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. No, you're not a bust, but guy, you are not very good. Mac Jones. Let's get into Mac Jones. We thought Mac Jones was going to be the best guy in the world. We thought Mac Jones was going to take the torch. We thought, damn, they got another one in New England. He's been a backup the last 4 or 5 years, and nobody's putting him on bus lists. Let's run down another one. Love me some Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall pick. He also underwhelmed. Now, granted, that was a Cleveland issue, and he was doing this anyway. But he has not. I love me some Baker Mayfield, but he has not played up to #1 pick status. He's not. He's not played up to #1 pick status. Let me name the ways. Tom Brady towards the end in the last season for the Bucks. You'd have thought he was great. Tom Brady was terrible. The media don't like Aaron Rodgers because of some political stuff, so I'm not really gonna get into that one. But you see what I'm talking about. You see the picture I'm painting. And I ain't even talked about the biggest one yet. We're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to him. I just want to set the stage first. So you look at all these guys that have completely underwhelmed. Just completely wet the bed when these guys were touted to be great They were touted to be great. All these guys have wet the bed, and they've done nothing. But then we go to Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't have his numbers straight off, but Lamar Jackson made the playoffs damn near every year he's been a starter. He should be a three-time MVP, constant professional, always shows up to play, never had a top flight receiver. Anytime he needs to play, his teammates fail him, whether it's offense or defensively, including his coach on not on record, but it's you look at the games because most of these media pundits do not look at the games. They just say whatever is on. They just say whatever the big Whitey tells them to say. Stephen A. Smith, Dan Arlowski. They just say whatever ESPN wants them to say, right? Lamar Jackson has dealt with so much in his short career. So much. Now, granted, he's been injured. Some of the playoff games he hasn't played well in. I'm not saying he's perfect, right? He doesn't have a great record in the playoffs, but he's there. He's played well in second halves. You look at these games; it's not always his fault. A reason is not an excuse. If your team has the record for the most drop passes in a playoff game, if you lead your team all the way down the field and the receiver drops the ball, if you lead your team all the way down and the kicker missed the kick, those things are not Lamar Jackson issues. If you get injured in the pocket because your offensive line is hot garbage, that's not a Lamar Jackson issue. But we don't talk about Lamar Jackson like that because the media don't want to give him credit. I saw something on Twitter. I don't know if I screenshot it or not. These guys were not. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts were not meant to be great. They wasn't supposed to be great. These guys were anomalies. These guys were anomalies. They weren't supposed to be. They wasn't supposed to be good. And that's why the media just can't put their hand around them. Could you imagine? And we're gonna get into it now. Could you imagine if Josh Allen had the same resume as Jalen Hurts? You might ask, Keith, what is Jalen Hurts' resume? Let's run it down. He has a 6-3 playoff record. First season only played one game. Second season 2-1. And these are playoff records. 2022 season they had the Super Bowl run. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I remember saying, and that if I can find a video, I remember saying that if Jalen didn't fumble the ball, they were going to beat Kansas City. He outplayed the best guy in the league twice. He just couldn't get it done the first time. 2023 season, not the best. 2024, that's the championship run. And 2025 was not the best. Right? But when you look at these seasons, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much all of these seasons were 10-win seasons. So these are the seasons: 2020, 1-3, 2021, 8-7, 2022, 14-1, 2023, 11-6, 2024, 12-3, 2025, 11-5. This guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 10, 11 win seasons. 2 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl MVP. And the Super Bowl that he lost, he played well in. While also not having the same offensive coordinator since he was at Alabama. Jalen Hurts has not had the same head coach, or not head coach, the same offensive coordinator since Alabama. You want to know why? Because he's a freaking monster. Jalen Hurts is dope. And he plays so well that people are like, oh man, that offensive coordinator is good. Let me go make him my head coach. Oh, that coordinator, it's hot in here, y'all. That coordinator is great. Let me go make him a head coach. That coordinator is great. Let me go take him and maybe he can revive our offense. Let's take him and maybe he's the key piece to what we need in our scheme. Jalen Hurts is giving people generational wealth by while he's playing. Now we can say, oh, Jalen Hurts is around great teammates. Okay, that's great. You need great teammates to win. I'll give you that. Nobody has ever won. Excuse me. Nobody has ever won with subpar teammates. Maybe Brady, but Brady is the best guy. Brady, let's put Brady to the side. And even Brady had top 10 defenses. So it's not like Brady didn't have talent. He just didn't have it on the offensive end. He had the greatest defensive mind ever coaching for him. So of course they're not gonna need much on offense. They beat the Rams they beat the Rams with defense that first Super Bowl. Brady looked like damn near Sam Darnold they first Super Bowl run. So like you can't use Brady in this. You can't use Brady in this type of situation just based off that fact. Now, eventually, Brady got better, and he was able to make guys look like better than they actually do, like Lamar Jackson, who has a tough flight receiver. I get all that. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. This is a monster team, right? I said this when they was making their run. Jalen Hurts is one of the greatest conductors we've ever seen. Did he not play well this year? Of course, he didn't play the best this year. But he has 2 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl. That should make you a made man. That used to make you a made man. That made you beyond reproach. That made you good in the hood. You couldn't say nothing. You couldn't say nothing to him because what would be the excuse? Well, he got it done in the biggest moments. He got it done in the biggest moments. That normally was it. You get that ring, you good in the hood. They can't say nothing about you because you got the ring. What do Jordan fans say? 6-0 in the finals. This is not basketball, but you get a Super Bowl championship, you good. There should be nothing you can say to me. We can talk about my play. We can talk about how bad we can talk about everything, but it's always supposed to bookend with, well, he's a Super Bowl champion. Nobody gives him the benefit of the doubt with that. I've never seen a guy win a Super Bowl and then have to prove himself more after playing spectacularly and outplaying the best guy in the Super Bowl. Statistically, he outplayed the best guy in the Super Bowl. It's my alarm. He outplayed the best guy in the Super Bowl, and you sitting here telling me that he needs to prove himself. The son of a coach who could have transferred but stayed at Alabama, made some big plays when Tua inevitably got injured. Then went to Lane Kiffin? Lincoln Riley, and had a Heisman type season. And then came to Philly. When I remember that draft, I didn't think he was going to play much. He ended up playing. He's the guy in Philly. And they gave him a big contract. So, what if I told you that Josh Allen did this? What if I told you Josh Allen had this resume? What if I told you Josh Allen led the Bills to 2 Super Bowls, won one, beat Kansas City en route to both Super Bowls, lost one, and then won one? What would we say? What would the media say, right? I try my best to be unbiased the best way I can. But what would the media say? The media would be like, oh my God, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. He's the best guy to do it. Is he better than Patrick Mahomes? They probably say he is better than Patrick Mahomes. He's such a gamer. He's a winner. Like, and we know this just based off biases. Like, Josh Allen can go do something. They look, oh my God, Josh Allen's so sweet. Lamar Jackson do it. Jalen Hurts do it. It's, oh my God, why would they do that? Even though they're winning more. We can do what we want to do with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a great talent. I call him Cam Newton Jr. But that mess that he put on display last playoff run, he should be the topic of discussion. Trevor Lawrence, everybody's pretty much done with Trevor Lawrence. He's never going to be much. But Justin Herbert, you got a national championship coach. Now, granted, he's a hardball, so inevitably he's going to F you over, but that shouldn't matter. You're highly touted. Go get it done. You got your spot by weird circumstances, by them backdooring Tyrod Taylor, but that's another story. Go look it up. Um, what are we doing? Josh Allen is a great talent. But the fact we're talking more about a Super Bowl MVP and what he needs to do, and then anonymous sources one week, and then the next week we're talking about Lamar Jackson showing up to camp and not congratulating him on finally showing up to camp, which is what I did in my video yesterday or Monday. I said, yes, he's finally at camp. What else they're gonna say? And the pivot is, well, how long is he gonna stay? Why are they working? Why are they working so hard in day one? Why are they doing this? Why? That's what they're saying. Instead of just congratulating these athletes of showing up because everybody's there. Derrick Henry's there, Lamar Jackson's there, Malachi Starks is there. Everybody's there. Instead of congratulating these young men or old men, in Derrick Henry's case, it's always an excuse. Or it's always a reason as to why we can't give these guys their flowers. I remember I was watching something, and I apologize, OG, that I'm forgetting your name right now. I'm forgetting his name right now. We're gonna figure out what OG name is. Doug Williams told a story about how they didn't want him to win the Super Bowl and how they were gonna break his legs if he won the Super Bowl and all this. If I can find it, I'll put it right here. Doug Williams talked about this in the '80s, right? The best black quarterback to ever lace him up, Warren Moon, talked about how they wanted him to play other positions, and he said no. Marlon Briscoe had a phenomenal first season because they wanted to put him at quarterback, and he never played quarterback again because of the racism they had him. Right? I wish we had our own league to where we can celebrate our guys, the proper way. I really do, but that's a story for a different day. We have to see the play, and I think most of us see the play, right? Lamar Jackson, um, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, and let's get into Kyler Murray since we're here. They put a clause in Kyler Murray's contract saying that he couldn't play the game or something like that. And the only reason they took it out is because media found out and they said something about it, and then they took it out. Now, Kyler Murray's a special case. Just because how I want to word this. Just because something happens doesn't mean it's what it is. You know, I don't believe everything is racism. Sometimes black people are stupid, right? In Kyler Murray's case, that probably needed to happen, but we never heard about that from the other counterparts. I love Kirk Cousins. Get your money. Get paid, young nigga, get paid, right? Kirk Cousins in quarterback didn't go to church, or he went to church or did something on Tuesdays. Most quarterbacks show up on the off days. Kirk Cousins said, I'm not showing up. I'm going to spiritually and blah, 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 see my family, right? That's cool. I'm not mad at that, right? Could you imagine if that was Kyler Murray who did that? They'd have said he wasn't a winner. They'd have said he wasn't serious about the game. And that's the point I'm trying to spin with the Kyler Murray thing. It's like, yeah, the game thing needs to stop. But why would they put that in your contract? They got to put that in your contract. That's not a good look. But I've never heard that clause before. It's been gamers in the league before, but I've never heard that clause before. So I don't know. I don't want to put racism on that, but it's the NFL, so I want to call BS on it. So well, it's a long rant because I'm sick and tired of our guys who are very successful having to play under extraordinary circumstances every week for week. But then we look at the other guys, it's two Americas. And I love that phrase. Whoever came up with that phrase, shout out to you. It's two Americas. It's the Jalen Hurts / Eagles America / Lamar Jackson America. And then it's the Josh Allen / Justin Herbert / Trevor Lawrence America. Apparently, we can't even talk about how bad these guys have been. I reiterate, Josh Allen was terrible. in that playoff game. Wide open field. The Eagles were not going to make the Super Bowl. Lamar was out. Pat was out. Field full of young guys. Overwhelmingly should have made it to the Super Bowl. Now I picked Houston, but I wouldn't have been surprised if the Bills made it. And I thought the refs was gonna pull some fugazi stuff to make sure that they got to the Super Bowl as well. And he still couldn't do it. I'm talking about 2-3 fumbles and interception. One of the worst football games I've ever seen a quarterback play. Could you imagine if that was Lamar Jackson? They would still be talking about it. They'd be like, see, this is why he ain't this. And they would never let him hear the end of it. They would never let him hear the end of it. We still talking about 2011 still. LeBron has won 4 championships since then. Incredible playoff moments. He dropped 51 in a game 1 in a series that we all knew he wasn't finna win. Greatest player ever to do it. But now we still talking about 2011 when he was like 23 years old, 24 years old. Lamar Jackson. Still, if we should be talking about him in totality, not just. I'm still of the mindset that he got to get it done in the playoffs. But we talking about him showing up in April? We having whole discussions about him in April? Darren Orlovsky getting on TV at 8:18 or 8 o'clock talking about Lamar Jackson got to be there. If he not there, this is crazy. And then he's there at 8:30 and get up deletes the post. You niggas is shameless. You people are shameless at ESPN. This is not the ESPN I grew up on. You employ some bozos and you let guys go like Zach Lowe. Like, you platform Stephen A. Smith and all these dummies, but you platform Stephen A. Smith, but then get mad at us because we don't want to watch it. Just straight idiots over there. I grew up on ESPN. There was a time where you could just let ESPN play and you're going to get something interesting. I don't even watch ESPN now if it ain't a game, and I mute it if the game ain't on. Just shameless over there. Just absolutely terrible. I hate it. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Y'all come here on some stupid stuff, you will be blocked and your comment will be deleted. So I'm what Cole say? I'm on 10, nigga, not 9. So I really feel passionately about this because that's why I started this video. Or that's why I started this channel, to holler at our guys and give a platform for, they're not voiceless. They're not voiceless. But give a platform and defend these guys. These are some tremendous athletes doing the best they can, and all they get is slandered. I'm going to hold people accountable when it's time to hold them accountable. But it's April. We should be talking about all the good stuff they did. And talk about how they can improve, not some hit piece so you can be relevant for a few weeks. I'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.